Rain poured steadily over Arlington that night, washing the marble steps of the once grand military headquarters where General Helena Cross sat alone, her medals dull in the weak light of the lamppost. Her uniform, once pristine and sharp as her reputation, was now wrinkled, soaked, and missing its luster, much like her life. Just a month ago, Helena had commanded thousands. Her word carried the weight of the Pentagon itself. But a single scandal, one she hadn't caused, had stripped her of everything. A failed operation overseas, casualties pinned on her leadership, and a betrayal from within her own ranks. She'd been forced into early retirement, branded unfit for command. Her fiancé left. Her home was repossessed. Now, she sat outside the same building that had exiled her, clutching an old photo of her unit, tears mixing with the rain. Inside, the night shift janitor pushed his mop down the long hallways. His name was Daniel Reed, 38, widower, father of a 6-year-old girl named Lily. His quiet demeanor and gentle smile made him invisible to most. But he noticed everything. As he wheeled his cart past the main doors, he spotted the soaked figure on the steps. He hesitated. "Ma'am, you okay out there?" His voice carried through the rain. Helena didn't look up. "I'm fine." Daniel tilted his head. Even from a distance, he recognized her face from the portraits that used to hang in the command wing. General Cross. Her eyes flicked up, sharp and defensive. "Not anymore." He stepped closer, umbrella in hand. "You'll catch pneumonia if you sit out here much longer." She gave a hollow laugh. "Wouldn't that be convenient?" Daniel opened the umbrella and offered it to her. "Maybe, but I don't think you're done yet." For a moment, she almost dismissed him. But there was something disarming about the janitor's tone, steady, calm, without pity. She took the umbrella reluctantly. "Why do you care?" Daniel shrugged. "Because someone should." He extended a hand to help her up. She hesitated, then took it. His grip was firm, grounding. Inside, he guided her to the staff lounge, dimly lit, smelling faintly of coffee and disinfectant. He poured her a cup of coffee from the old machine and slid it across the table. "Sugar?" "No, I'm fine." She sipped and stared at the steam. "You work here long?" "About 2 years," Daniel said, sitting across from her. "Mostly nights." "Quieter then." Helena smirked faintly. "You like quiet." He nodded. "After Afghanistan, I learned to appreciate silence." Her eyes shifted to him. "You served." He gave a small nod. "Army Aviation. Chief Warrant Officer. Medevac pilot. Lost my wife to cancer while I was deployed." After that, the uniform didn't fit right anymore. The words hung heavy between them. Helena studied him, surprised by the depth behind his modest tone. "You've been through hell," she murmured. He smiled softly. "We all have our wars, General." She looked down. "Mine was lost the moment I trusted the wrong people." Daniel leaned back, listening. She took a long breath, her voice breaking slightly. "I gave everything for this country. Every promotion, every star, I earned with blood and sacrifice. And then one man, one politician, decided I was expendable. They called it strategic reassignment. I call it betrayal." Daniel nodded slowly. "That's how they do it. They don't shoot you, they just erase you." Her eyes met his, searching. "How do you live with that?" He thought for a moment. "By remembering the ones who still see you." Helena frowned. "Who still sees me, Reed?" "The Pentagon erased my name. My fiancé left a voicemail saying he needed space. The soldiers I trained are afraid to be seen with me." Daniel stood and walked to his cart, pulling something from the side pocket. He handed her a folded paper towel. On it, drawn in pencil, was a child's crayon sketch, him and a little girl holding hands beside a sunrise. "My daughter Lily drew that for me after my wife's funeral. She said, 'Daddy, you're still my hero even if you don't wear your uniform.'" Helena's lips parted slightly as she traced the crude lines with her fingers. "She's wise. Kids usually are," Daniel said. "They see who we are without the medals." Helena's eyes welled again, but this time not from pain. There was something in his words that pierced through the fog of despair. "You really believe we can come back from anything?" Daniel nodded. "I've seen soldiers crawl out of wreckage, rebuild their lives from ashes. You don't lose everything, General, you just forget where to look." For a long moment, they sat in silence. Then Helena asked, How do you do it, Reed? How do you keep going? He smiled faintly. Because someone small depends on me. And because I still believe good people make a difference, even if nobody claps for them anymore. The next morning, Helena awoke on the couch in the lounge, a blanket draped over her shoulders. Daniel was gone, but a sticky note on the coffee pot read, "Come back tonight. You've got work to do." Confused but intrigued, she returned that evening. Daniel was waiting near the loading dock, sleeves rolled up, repairing a broken floor buffer. "Work to do?" she asked, crossing her arms. He grinned. "You said you lost your purpose. Let's find it." He handed her a mop. Helena blinked. "You're kidding." "Nope. You start with what's in front of you." She sighed but took it anyway. As they worked side by side, he told her about the people most never saw. The cafeteria staff who'd served for 20 years without recognition, the night security guard who sent half his paycheck to his mother overseas, the janitorial crew who cleaned up after generals and senators without complaint. "These halls don't run on rank," Daniel said. "They run on people like them. Like us." Helena paused, looking around. For the first time, she saw the place differently. The silent dignity of ordinary workers. The invisible backbone of the building she once commanded. By midnight, her hands ached, but she felt lighter. Daniel wiped his brow. "See, you didn't need stars to lead." Helena smiled faintly. "I led soldiers, not floors. You led hearts," he corrected. "And that's still in you." Over the next few nights, she returned. What started as cleaning shifts became long conversations about life, leadership, and loss. Daniel's calm strength slowly chipped away at the bitterness that had consumed her. One evening, she found Lily waiting in the lounge coloring. The little girl looked up and beamed. "Daddy says you used to be a general." Helena smiled, kneeling beside her. "Used to be." Lily shook her head. "You still are. You just don't wear the clothes." Helena laughed, a sound she hadn't made in months. A week later, an emergency erupted in the building. The fire alarm blared, chaos rippling through the lower floors. Smoke poured from a maintenance room where an electrical panel had caught fire. Daniel shouted, "Everyone out," and began helping the crew evacuate. But someone shouted, "The old night guard's still inside." Without hesitation, Helena grabbed the fire extinguisher and ran into the smoke. The room glowed orange. She found the elderly guard trapped behind fallen debris. "Hang on," she yelled, coughing through the smoke. She lifted the beam with a grunt, old strength rekindled, and dragged him out as Daniel doused the flames. When the fire department arrived, they found Helena covered in soot, breathing hard but alive, the guard safe beside her. Daniel knelt beside her, eyes wide. "You could have been killed." She smiled weakly. "You said find what's in front of me." The next morning, word spread quickly. Photos of her rescue reached a retired general who'd once mentored her. By afternoon, a car arrived, a black sedan with tinted windows. Out stepped General Robert Miles, former Joint Chiefs Chairman. He approached Helena, standing by her mop bucket, and saluted. "You always did run toward the fire." Helena looked down. "I just did what anyone would do." "Not everyone," he said quietly. "The board wants to review your case. I think they finally see what they lost." Daniel watched from a distance as Helena stood straighter than she had in months. Later, she approached him outside. "They're reinstating my rank, advisory position," she said. "I owe that to you." He shook his head. "No, you did that yourself." Helena smiled. "Still, I want to help. You said people here go unseen. That ends now. I'm setting up a veterans employment initiative, starting with you. Full-time maintenance supervisor." Daniel blinked. "Ma'am." She raised an eyebrow. "General." He chuckled. "General." Their eyes met, and for a brief second, gratitude passed between them, unspoken, deep, and real. Weeks later, the halls of the building were alive again. Helena, now dressed in a modest uniform without medals, visited the janitorial team often. She spoke to every worker by name, introduced new veteran hires, and made sure Daniel's program for returning soldiers received funding. One afternoon, as the sun set through the tall windows, Lily ran up the corridor with her drawing pad. She tugged Helena's sleeve. "I drew something for you." Helena knelt and looked. It was a crayon sketch of her and Daniel standing side by side under a shining star. Above them, Lily had written, Heroes don't always wear medals. Helena felt her throat tighten. She hugged the little girl gently. You're right, Lily. They just keep showing up. Daniel watched them with quiet pride. That night, as Helena locked the office, she looked around. The same halls that had once been a cage now felt like home. She turned to Daniel, who was wiping down the floor, and said softly, "You changed my life in seconds that night, you know." He smiled. "Nah, General, you just needed someone to remind you who you are." Outside, the rain had stopped. The stars, bright, unburdened, glimmered across the sky, and for the first time in a long time, Helena Cross felt whole again.